Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about something that is super hard for me to talk about, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for you guys, and we're just going to take the leap and talk about it. So I am going to be talking about dating and how hard dating is in this kind of society that we live in, and just dating in general. And I'm kind of gonna tell you some of my stories. They're not that great, but they are my stories, and I'll give you kind of like a background on me and just kind of get into it. So it's gonna be a fun time, so stick around. Let's get started, shall we though? Okay, so I am 20 years old. I feel super old, and I know I'm not old, but like I just feel like time's going by super fast. So I haven't really dated all that much, and it's just who I am as a person. I didn't really date in high school. I was like in love with one guy in high school. We didn't date. He was in love with my best friend. Sounds like a movie, but it was my real life, and it sucked. And I was very insecure in high school. I felt like no guys would like me because I'm not a size 2, and I still to this day struggle with those thoughts. And it's just my mindset, and it's just, you know, just the way we perceive things. So I just was under the impression that no guy would want to be with me because I wasn't a size 2. And so I didn't really date in high school. Like I said, I was in love with one guy, and he was in love with my best friend, and that was a awful triangle to be in. And so then when I got out of high school, my whole world changed. Like my whole worldview changed. A lot of things were happening at once. My dad passed away my senior year in high school, and so I just didn't have time to date. I just was struggling. I was not in a good mindset, and so right out of high school I joined beauty school. And so beauty school is predominantly females. Like there was no males in my school, and so I really wasn't meeting people that way and whatever. So I always felt very weird. I was always just the weird girl who didn't date anyone, who didn't like, I didn't have my first kiss until 19, and that was just a couple months ago. And so literally I just always felt like such an odd person for never dating anyone, and I just always felt like no one wanted to be with me because, again, I'm not a size 2, and that's what the media tells us, is that you're deemed unworthy if you are not skinny. At least that's what I had in my brain. And so when I turned 18, I decided to join a dating app, and this is kind of where dating started. And so it was really weird at first, but like I was really open to it, and I was fine, and everything was good. And so I was talking to this one guy, and he wasn't the greatest. Like he wasn't like super attractive, but not that looks are everything, but looks are definitely important, and that's something I learned later on. But so I was talking to this one guy, and he worked in kind of the same area that I kind of knew and kind of lived in. And so I just decided one day to meet up with him because I felt like the place that we were meeting up was like my safe zone. Like I knew that place, and like I knew that area, so I felt fine. So one of the worst things that I did when I met up with this guy is I lied to my mom, and that's something I don't recommend for anyone, no matter what age you are. Like I still live at home, I still am very close with my mom, and I totally lied to her, and I said that I was meeting up with a friend, and I was actually going on a date with this guy. And so I don't recommend that at all. I learned my lesson. Move on from that story. So when I went on the date with him, I met him by a movie theater, and it just, number one, I think every date you go on, you learn these different lessons, and it's so cool to learn the lessons. Not really while you're going through it, but looking back. So anyway, we went to movies, and I've learned now, don't go on a first date to the movies because it's super awkward. Doesn't matter if they're like, have the most chemistry with those people, like, it's awkward because like you can't really talk, like you can't really get to know the person. And so anyways, we met up at the movie theater. We went in and like I was trying to talk to him, like walking to the theater, and like I just was like trying to make conversation and just whatever, and it just was like super, like he wasn't that attractive. But again, in my mindset, I thought that I had to be with someone who was not attractive because I deemed myself unattractive because I wasn't a size 2. And so we went into the movie theater. It was super awkward. Trying to talk to him was like trying to pull teeth, and it just was not fun. And so, you know, then we sat down at the movie theater, like that was that, like we watched the movie, and then it was super awkward and super weird because this guy had a super like loud, obnoxious laugh, and he would laugh like during parts that weren't funny, and like the whole theater would be looking at us, and it just was like not a great date. And then afterwards I just kind of went home. Like we didn't really talk again, like it just didn't work out, which is fine. But after that date, I had this like terrible mindset and terrible taste in my mouth of like online dating. Like I became super fearful of meeting people online because I don't know if it was like a mixture of like, my dad was a super paranoid person, and so losing him, kind of all of his insecurities and kind of his paranoia transferred onto me, and so I just became super paranoid. And so like I wouldn't meet guys on these dating apps, and it wasn't cool to just be talking to guys and to never meet them and just kind of string them along knowing I would never meet them because I was afraid to meet them. I had a huge anxiety of like meeting people because, like I said, I've never really been in a relationship, and so and up until that point I had never kissed a boy, and it just was like such a fearful time in my life. But I still talked to guys, and like it just you know, it just progressed, and it just like never ended anywhere. And so I would always like go and hang out with my friends and like, you know, live my regular life. I finished beauty school, and I graduated beauty school, and I went on to get a job in the industry that I went to, and I became a hairstylist, and I went on living my life without really dating anyone because I was fearful. And so then I, you know, would always go to these parties with my friends, and like it's not really like we were meeting guys at these parties either, but I would always feel like such an outsider and such a person that was left out because I had never been in a relationship, and I had never kissed anyone, and I was like the loser in the group. Or like my friends did not make me feel that way, but that's how my mindset worked. Like I felt like such a loser because I was 19 and never kissed a boy. And later on, like after I had kissed a boy, nothing changed. And so for me to feel that way all those years, that feel like such a loser for all those years because I hadn't done something with a guy, is such a stupid thing to feel. And so if you're watching this and you're, you know, 16 or whatever your age is, and you've never kissed a boy, don't feel like an outcast. Don't feel like a loser. Don't feel like your worth comes from a boy, because that was something I had to learn. I never really needed a guy in my life to feel okay, but I did feel like I was different than everyone because I wasn't dating. And here's what I've learned is that it's okay not to date people, and it's okay to be different, because my values are a lot different than people in this society. And granted, the fact I had some internal issues as far as fear and meeting up with guys, that kind of prevented me from dating. But don't ever feel like you're a social outcast. Don't ever feel like you're a loser because you haven't done something with a guy. Like, your worth and your who you are as a person doesn't come from whether or not you've kissed a guy. There's a billion of people who have kissed guys, and that doesn't mean they're any better or worse than you are. So that was something I had to learn, and it's a great lesson to learn. So fast forward to probably 5 months ago. I was at a party with one of my friends, and I was just feeling really, like, I just was giving myself a lot of pity, because all of these people were talking about their boyfriends, and like, this was no different than any other time. But I just was like feeling so sorry for myself, because I had never kissed a boy, and I had never done this, and I had never been out with a guy. Well, you know, so I just decided then and there that like I was going to take online dating more seriously, and that I was going to meet up with these people instead of being so fearful. And so I ended up meeting up with a guy from an online dating app, and he was super sweet. We had a really great time on our first date. We went not to the well, we did go to the movies, but that wasn't the first thing we did. We, you know, went to Olive Garden, and we went to Barnes & Noble and like talked about a lot of different things, and then we went to the movies, and then like it was a long date. Like, I was hanging out with him from like 2, and I didn't get home till like 9, and so it was a long date, and it was great, and it was fun, and it was cool, and he was a cool guy. And so I ended up going on 2 dates with him after that, and it was great. It was fine. It was fun. It was a new experience. On the 3rd date, we ended up kissing, and it was fine. And like, nothing changed. Like, my life, the world did not start spinning the other way because I had kissed a boy. Like, nothing had changed. But the perspective of me thinking all those bad negative thoughts about myself all those years was so detrimental. Is that even the right word? Was so awful for my mindset, and for the way, you know, I lived, because I felt like such a loser for so long because I hadn't kissed a boy. And really, nothing changed after I kissed a boy. Like, the world did not revolve any different. My life didn't change. I didn't miraculously get married to this guy. Like, it actually ended after the 3rd date. But that is a, you know, a story all in itself, but we're not going to talk about that. So then after that, and after it kind of ended with that guy, I felt like so weird that I had felt like a loser all those years. And like, I know that I am decently pretty girl. Like, I think I'm pretty, but I just, up until that point, I didn't feel worthy of dating anyone, because I wasn't a size 0 or size 2 or size 5 or whatever. Like, I am a plus size girl, and that's something I struggle with. So what I've learned through my kind of dating adventures is that number one is, if you're online dating, be safe. Meet in a public place. Obviously, tell your mother where you're going, because lying is not a good thing, and I should have never lied in the beginning. But and number 2, know who you're, like, talk to the person beforehand. Like, online dating isn't that scary. Just don't meet up with someone who you've just been talking to for an hour. Like, that, I'm not comfortable with that. Like, literally, I have to talk to guys for like a couple weeks before I meet up with them. Number 3, don't be so fearful. For me, that's a thing that I have to get through my brain, is to not be fearful, because I just am fearful of meeting these guys, and fearful of like rejection, and fearful that they won't find me attractive because I'm not small. And it's just a mindset thing. That's another thing I've learned, is like, if you cannot say in your brain, oh, this guy is not gonna like me because I'm not a size 2. That's not how this works. You can't deem what someone finds attractive and what someone, like, what I find attractive is completely different than what my best friend finds attractive or what her friend finds attractive. Like, you cannot say in your brain, oh, he's not gonna like me because I am plus size, or he's not gonna like me because I have a big nose, or he's not gonna like me because of whatever, because I have acne, or whatever reason you think he's not gonna like you. Don't put those thoughts in your head, because you don't know what they find attractive. All of us, here's another thing I had to learn, is all of us have insecurities, and it's just getting past those insecurities and meeting new people. And so those are kind of my dating stories. I know this is kind of a long video, but it's been an adventure dating, let me tell you. And I still got to meet some more people and get out there more so that I can learn different lessons and be different, like be a more open person. And that's just something I have to work on. But right now I'm reading this book, and it's called How to Get a Date Worth Keeping, and it's by Henry Cloud. And this book has definitely 100% changed my perspective on dating completely. Like, I still have to get over the fear of like going up and meeting people because I have a fear of that. But this book, if you're religious, and even if you're not religious, I would recommend reading this book 100%, because like I said, this book, and I'm not sponsored, like if he wants to sponsor this, like go ahead, man, but I'm not sponsored. But man, I'm just talking so much. This book has pretty much told me, like, number one, you need to get out there. Like, there's just so many lessons, but one of the biggest ones is like, don't date to get married. And I know that's a lot of things that we do as Christians, but we're not really getting far. And like, what I mean by that is, like, I wouldn't go out on dates if like people didn't meet certain requirements. Like, oh, he has to be this, he has to be this, he has to be a lover of Christ, he has to be all of these things. And yes, I still have requirements and things as far as like a long-term relationship, but right now it's just fun to just date, because the more people you meet, the more lessons you're gonna learn in life, the more different things you find that you like and what you don't like, and you just learn these different things just by going out with these people. And so that's what I'm gonna leave you with, and I hope you guys like this video. I know I rambled a lot, and that's just kind of my personality. I just talk a lot. But if you learned anything, and if you're struggling with dating or with self-confidence, hear me telling you that your worth does not come from a man. And if you are fearful like I am, it's okay to be fearful, but don't let fear control your life. Meet them in a public place. Be safe. Try new things, date different people, date around, and buy this book. Just kidding. You don't have to buy this book, but this book is changing my perspective on dating 100%. So that's what I would tell you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Okay, bye.